So I thought this was going to be a type of junior high science. I mean, you would figure everybody would have known this. All right, today we're going to be talking about the walleye, Sanders vitreous. The name comes from the pearlescent eyes that the fish has in its tissue that allows it to see in low light conditions and at night. That's the reason why the walleye mainly fish that mainly eat goes and pretty much hunts down anything that it can hunt that it can eat at night. The walleye's vision also allows it to see in very deep lakes to where the fish go during the summer and to get to cooler waters. So it's able to see and hunt, and pretty much the eyesight of the walleye affects its whole behavior than other fish that are within the lakes. So I also had to write this down just because I knew I wasn't going to be able to remember it. But other names of the fish are the walleye pike, the yellow pike perch, or yellow pickerel. But we can all pretty much agree that a walleye is a walleye. It has a close cousin, and the name of that fish is the sauger. But other fish related to it is the yellow perch, and it just mainly allows itself to be within the family of the perch family. So according to the USGS, the walleye is native to the St. Lawrence River, the Great Lakes, the Mississippi River Basin, all the way up into Canada, and also west to South and North Dakota, all the way down to Arkansas and Alabama, mainly inhabiting lakes, rivers, and small streams. But within Iowa, it is a very native fish to within Iowa, but it does have a hard time spawning in the state of Iowa. Ecologists believe that the walleye originated during the Pleistocene era and came over to the United States or North America over the Bering Sea Land Bridge, and paleontologists and whoever else has dated the walleye species back to the late Pleistocene age, because they found a fossil of a fish that resembles very closely to the walleye. So now on to the main subject of the whole deal. Then, just because I've seen online and on Facebook and groups on Facebook that fishermen badge other fishermen for keeping fish, for releasing fish. Do we keep the fish? Do we eat the fish? Do we let them go to reproduce? Whatever. And I would just say, according to the Iowa DNR, the walleye reproduces in spring and in lakes. And it goes out and it swims upstream and migrates during what we call the walleye run. And it happens during very, very early spring, almost late winter, when the ice melts and just flows downstream. And once the water temp hits a certain degree, according to the walleye to the Iowa DNR, the water temps have got to be around 40 to 50 degrees. So once the water hits 40, 50 degrees, the walleye swim upstream. They come up into the shallows and lakes, and it pretty much, reproductive habits start emerging. But the walleye has to move up into gravel beds, rock beds, whatever, in order to reproduce. And there's got to be a certain amount of current, a certain amount of oxygen, certain type of temperature. I mean, it pretty much has to happen right on time. The perfect conditions have to emerge. And so the female, just swims upstream and it starts to make the bed or whatever. Several male walleye come in, and then releasing the eggs and releasing the millet happen at the exact same time. And the eggs get for 20%. No, I think it's 20%. Hold on. So according to the Iowa DNR, 5 to 20% of the eggs do get fertilized. So when you think about this, that is a very, very low number, very, very low number. And also, you gotta think that successful hatch through that, after all the conditions were right, and the eggs are 5 to 20% of the eggs are fertilized. You got to think of other conditions, future conditions that are going to happen. We're talking about floods. We're talking about wind. We're talking about erosion, all that. So when you think about this, you mean when the floods happen, it's bringing down all the Iowa silt, all the field erosion. So when you think about this, the cold during the cold water floods happen, the fast current and fast currents. And you mean we're talking about eggs getting buried within silt. We're talking about eggs getting washed away. We're talking about eggs getting washed up on shore in lakes from the waves and the wind and everything else. But also, you also got to think that pretty much 99% of Iowa, well, I would say, okay, 95% of Iowa is all mainly crop fields. So you got to think that with all the rains coming, spring rains, crop fields getting washed, because mostly almost every crop field that I see doesn't have waterways, doesn't have the buffers, doesn't have wintering crops within it to hold the silt back from all the floods and everything happening. I mean, I'm talking about gully washers, the erosion, holding the soil back, and it's getting washed into the ditches, it's getting washed into the creeks, it's getting washed into the rivers. We're talking about washing everywhere. And then you also got to think that cities are expanding. I mean, they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which means more concrete is being made and put on for driveways, roads, parking lots, whatever. So all that water's got to go into the storm systems and getting washed down into the rivers. So that's creating more floods. We're talking and creating more silt and pretty much everything. So you got to think that all the eggs and the fry and everything else it's pretty much they're fucked. I mean, just pretty much fucked. So when you think about it, we got to rely on Iowa DNR for this. We got to rely on the fisheries. We got the fish hatcheries. We got to rely on the fishery biologists to do their thing. So what they do is during the spring they go out to the lakes. They go out to Rathman, Spirit Lake, wherever that they got to go, and they got to net these females. They got to net the males, and so they bring those fish back to the fish hatcheries, and they do the spawning there for them. Well, pretty much what they do is they grab the fish and they stroke the fish's side and release the eggs and the millet into this pan, and it's in order for the eggs to get fertilized. And almost every egg is fertilized within that point. And then after the eggs hatch, you got the fries, and the fries getting released back, and they said there's probably hold on a sec, 125, I want to say 125 million that they said get released back into the lakes and the rivers for us fishermen to enjoy later on. Now they do hold a lot of these fry back in order to grow them into fingerlings and get released back into the rivers and everything, so that there's an age demographic between it all and more of a success fish hatch. So what I'm saying is, guys, is that it's and I'm talking mainly here in Iowa. I'm guessing, and I'm just guessing, that pretty much 1% out of the 20% of the fish the fish spawn that are successfully fertilized, 1% of that go on to be a regular wild native naturally spawned fish. Naturally spawned. Almost 99% of all the other walleyes are hatched and raised in the fish hatcheries. So what I'm saying is that when a person goes out and they catches a trophy size walleye, it doesn't matter if it's male, female, whatever. I'm excited for that guy. If the guy, woman, child wants to take that fish home within the limits of what the laws that the DNR put in place to keep and harvest this fish, let them do it. Let them do it. I mean, it's nothing for another person to go out and catch another trophy walleye. And when I see on Facebook and other social media pages, people saying they should have let that fish go and they should have just released it, just took pictures, blah 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 blah. It's that guy's license. If he bought and purchased the license and he is obeying the law and he is ethically and morally doing everything right, let the guy keep the fish. Let the guy keep the fish. If he wants to go and just take a picture of it and then later on batter it up and throw it in some oil and fry it up, good on him. I am happy for him. Because you got to think, you do not know if that guy is going out there and fishing every weekend. You do not know if that guy that has caught these fish and want to take them home and fry them up only can fish with 1 or 2 times a year because he's working 2-3 jobs, because he is a single dad or a divorced dad, or he's getting or his job requires him to be able to only fish a couple weekends or a couple days throughout the year, because he's got to go and pay all the other bills that all of us have to go out and pay. And you don't know if he's got a couple baby mamas out there badgering him up for child support, and so he's got to work all these jobs, and so he only has a couple days to actually sit back and enjoy nature. You don't know, so let the guy go out there and fish. And another thing is that we fishermen have to stick together and have each other's back, because there is other entities out there that are trying to end our way of life of fishing, and not only fishing but also hunting. They are trying to create these ungodly laws that don't make any sense to me, to try and end our way of lifestyle, trying to end our lifestyle. I mean, we got people out there trying to create laws that says that we cannot use a barbed hook, we cannot use treble hooks, we cannot use soft baits, we cannot use lead in our jigs, we cannot use more than 3 fishing poles. I mean, here in Iowa, we can only use 2 fishing poles, and if you buy another permit in order to fish with 3, I mean, you go to Minnesota or Wisconsin, you're allowed to fish with 3. I do believe that you are allowed to use 3 fishing poles under 1 license, and you don't have to buy a permit. Here in Iowa, we have to buy a permit in order to fish with 3 fishing poles. And there's also other things out there other people out there that are just trying to create a whole bunch of weird other rules and regulations to pretty much slowly end our lifestyle. I mean, why are we fighting against ourselves about who can keep this fish and who cannot keep that fish, but this other person can keep these other types of fish, but we cannot keep the 25 to 30 inch whatever here in Iowa, when 1%, I'm guessing 1% of the successful 5 to 20% fertilized fish can make it within the spawn. Up in Minnesota, that is perfectly fine, because they have hundreds and hundreds of lakes that don't really get silted in as much as us here in Iowa. They can have those slot limits. I mean, I do support those slot limits up there in Minnesota, and I support whatever rules and regulations that they have in order to make sure that the walleye is naturally spawning out in Wisconsin. I do support that, and I do support South Dakota and North Dakota, whatever rules and regs they have. But here in Iowa, you got to think we are relying heavily on the fish hatchery to have a successful walleye fishery. We have to rely on that. Now, if we're fighting and badgering each other because, oh, that person caught 2 female walleye within his bag limit or daily bag limit, he should be able to release both of them. I don't care. Let him have the fish. Because when you think about it, not every fish is going to get harvested, and more fit in the fish that are hatched out of the fishery. A lot of those fish do end up into those giant female male walleye. A lot of them do. A lot of them still do. Now, if you want to release them, fine, go ahead. That's you. Take a picture, send it. Yep, I support that too. But why are we trying to tell each other you can keep this fish but not that fish? Who cares? I honestly don't care. So anyway, guys, let's start supporting each other on what we need to be doing, because it is getting very, very sickening. Now, later on, I probably should have put in more about the history of the walleye, but honestly, that's pretty much all I got. I mean, it is one of the most miraculous fisheries, fish that we have, along with the crappie, perch, northern, smallmouth, largemouth. It is absolutely amazing, and I do support what the Iowa DNR does for our walleye. I mean, honestly, do support it. I mean, if I could actually go out and give them more money, because I already I haven't done it yet this year, but I am getting that 3rd pull permit. But I'm putting money into the reap plates that I have on my truck. I joined a lot of these other conservation groups, because I do see all that money going into conservation. That's my other thing, guys. Are you putting more money into the conservation like I do when I join Whitetails Unlimited, Turkey, Wild Turkey Federation, Ducks Unlimited, with also putting money into the reap plates, DNR, and all that? Are you buying poles, lures? Because that there's an excise tax on that, which I'll get into in another video. There's excise tax on hunting stuff. And also, I put money, and I buy my hunting licenses every year too. So there you go. And I don't know how many tags I get through the year for turkey, deer, blah, 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 whatever. Are you guys putting that much money into it? Because, I mean, even boating regulations, that money goes right into it too, for habitat restoration, conservation, paying for the fishery, paying for the Iowa DNR to do their thing that they need to be doing. I mean, I want to see that. But anyway, guys, let's just start supporting each other, because honestly, it shouldn't matter how much money we're putting into that or whatever, as long as we have each other's back, because there's entities out there that are trying to end our way of life. I can't preach that enough. I can't not preach that enough. I mean, we got yuppies out there, city suckers, that are buying up waterfront property and telling us we can't fish around their boats or their boat docks, even though they don't own the water. There's going to be rules and regs coming up too if we don't stand up to that. So, but the best way to support this as of right now is to please hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, and please comment down below. If it's a bad comment, good comment, whatever, it still helps me out. So please like, subscribe, and we'll see you out on the river. See you guys.